Hi. So today I'm going to talk about the role of front office quant. Right. Many people who have reached out to me regarding their interest in quantitative finance. Many of them want to work as quant traders and quant investment researchers. So I would like to talk a bit about the front office quants. It's perhaps the most sought after job profile in the quant finance space. So I thought of therefore talking about it a bit. So as the name suggests, it's a role in the front office. So what it means as front office is that people who work directly with clients. So this is a revenue generating role. That means you will be making money for the organization that you will be working for. Not all quants make money for the organizations, right? There are quants in the back office and middle office, especially in the risk management area, who do not make revenue for the bank or the asset management firm or the trading firm they work for directly. Indirectly, they obviously may be making some money or at least saving costs, regulatory costs, and etc. But they don't contribute to the revenue to the top line directly. Whereas the front office quants, they do contribute quite immensely to the revenue of the organization, right? And that therefore they are more important for the organization, right? But it comes with some risk as well, because if you are contributing to the revenue aspect of the organization, of course you will be treated very especially your remuneration, your salary would be much higher than compared to the ones working in middle office and back office. But the performance will be scrutinized a lot. If you don't perform, if you're not able to do a good job in those roles, chances are that you probably will lose your job, right? So it's a bit more riskier compared to the quant jobs in the middle office or back office areas, right? So how the job look like? Well, the front office roles are roles where you will be expected to be really good with business. Okay, and front office roles can be found in many areas of finance, not just trading, right? Oftentimes people only assume that if you are a front office quant, you are just a trader, quant trader, but that's not the thing, right? Even on the long-term investment side also you have front office quants. On the investment banking side also you have front office quants. So on various areas of finance you have front office quants. Oftentimes people also call them desk quants, but there is it's the definition is not always very clear. In some cases you'll find differences, in some cases they are more or less the same. So now in these roles you will be expected to really good at with the business aspect of things, right? Quantitative skills are important, they're prerequisites in fact, but that's not enough, right? If you're good with mathematical modeling, you're good with programming, that's not enough in order to become a quant trader, right? You should be able to generate alpha, generate money through trading activities, right? So you should be a real good business person, right? You'll be taking decision yourself, or in some cases you will be helping the traders taking decisions. So you'll be either working very closely with the front office people, or you will be the one who will be working in front office. So in either of the roles you will be having a high stakes when it comes to making important decisions, and therefore the job is very, very important. In terms of the number of roles available in the market, there are simply not many. Even in the US, which is perhaps the biggest market for quants, there are not many front office quant roles. In the banking side you will have more on the sales side, but on trading side, on asset management side, whether it's in hedge funds or proprietary trading firms, there are simply not too many roles, although there are many boutiques or rather small trading firms nowadays which are also hiring front office quants. But in terms of comparing the number of roles available in the front in the middle office and the back office, the number is much smaller in the case of front office. Right, it's very interesting area, simply because you get to see how the models that you build, the work that you do, has an impact on the revenue. So you see the impact of your work directly on the revenue. Nothing like this. Like, this is one of the finest thing to do in the field of finance, because unlike in many other fields where you cannot measure the impact of your work directly, in the case of front office roles, you can easily see the impact of your work. If you're doing a good work, if you think you are a smart quant, you should be able to make good money for the organization. If you're not making money, then your models may be good theoretically, but they are not good enough to make money for the organization. So that's something you will get to know, right? So the feedback loop is very short, and you will see that very easily, and you can assess yourself. And it's not everyone's cup of tea, by the way. I've seen many front office quant who have worked there for a few years, but they were so stressed out that they really had to then move to other departments, for instance to risk management, to compliance side, or to middle office quant modeling, or to data, or to even back office quant modeling. So but it's worth giving it a try if you're really interested in quant finance, and especially if you're interested in more business oriented quant finance. You're less theoretical but more practical guy, go for it. It's a role where you will not be expected to be super smart in quantitative area, although nowadays any trader you meet, he is expected to have some quantitative skills. There was a time even high school dropouts used to work as traders. Now those days are gone. Nowadays you need to have a minimum of a bachelor degree in some quantitative discipline, in economics, mathematics, engineering, computer science, those areas, in order to become a trader. Doesn't matter if it is a quant trading or not, but even just to become a trader in any place, you have to have these mathematical skills. So quant techniques are being used nowadays in trading in almost all areas. Obviously the to the extent of use varies across different departments, different companies, but each one of these companies actually use some quantitative skills. So that's something to note, and you really need to therefore be good with quantitative skills, programming skills. Many of these front office quants don't know how to build a proper software. Okay, but that's not expected of them, by the way. There is a misconception that you have to be a software engineer in order to work as a front office quant. In some places I know that's a requirement, especially in smaller organizations, but in many organizations that's actually not the case. It's a bit of a debate. Some people are familiar with software development, so they do these things themselves, whereas a lot of them actually outsource that to back office people, back office team. So but more than anything, your the money that you generate will matter, right? Your algorithm may be fancy, but if you don't make money, that's worth nothing, right? So in terms of the interviews, right, what I've heard is that the interviews are not extremely quantitative for front office quant roles, right? You will be asked questions on some products. You will be asked questions on your skills in statistics and econometrics, and your knowledge of some programming, your ability to do some quick data analysis, your ability to do extract data and do some quick analysis. But for instance, you will not be asked, let's say, questions on pricing of some fancy derivative products, right? A lot of that will not be asked to you, right? I think one of the most important skill is to have a good understanding of basic econometric modeling, such as linear regression, quantile regression, survival analysis, understanding of Kalman filter, cupulas, and understanding of time series modeling, such as ARIMA, ARCH, and GARCH. If you are familiar with these techniques, especially the time series analysis techniques, then you should be fine, right? You should that should be sufficient in order to work there, right? Of course there are exceptions if in more on the sell side, especially the ones who work in the derivative side. There is a need of of understanding of more theoretical models, especially the stochastic models, Black-Scholes models, Heston models, and those derivative models, right? Nowadays also people prefer, if you have some data science, machine learning experience, if you have done boosting, bagging, support vector machine, decision tree type models, you have done cross validation, you have implemental models on different platforms. You know how to test the models, you know how to test the performance of model in different scenarios, the out of time testing, out of sample testing, all cross validation, different type of cross validations. If you know these techniques and you know how to use them in the context of finance, that's really always a plus point, right? But more than anything, I think, as I said, you should be simply interested in the business activity, whether it's, if it is a trading, it is trading. If it is more on long term investment, or if it's on investment banking side, or it's on more on asset management side, portfolio management side, then area and having strong interest in those areas is more important than your quant skills, right? If you go to middle office areas, is the opposite, right? You have to be a really good mathematician, or you have to be an expert in whatever you're doing. Your experience or knowledge of products, and whether you have strong expertise in different any products, you have understanding of products or not, is somewhat secondary, right? But quantitative skills are super important, especially in middle and back office areas, especially risk areas. All right, in terms of skills, I'll talk in different video. I'll maybe take a couple of job descriptions on front office controls and discuss. But it's the in the job descriptions are more or less similar to what you will see in middle office, for middle office roles, right? You'll be expected to have someone experience with Python, C++, SQL, Excel, even Excel, right? In many front office areas, people still use Excel or VBA, right? And you should have strong understanding of some of the traded products. If you don't have experience, at least read about them, and more than anything, you should have strong interest in this area, especially as a fresher, right? Nobody will expect you to have good understanding of the products, but your interest will matter a lot. So how do you show them that you have interest? You should have done your homework, you should have studied some of the books or the videos, you should have taken some courses, you should have done some courses, you should have gone some of these videos on YouTube, right? All that will be discussed in those interviews, and thereby you can show that you have strong interest and alignment. Okay, so in terms of remuneration, I've said, the front office quants actually make more money than the ones who work in the back office and middle office, but the job is less stable, more stressful, you have to work harder, and less work-life balance, all that is there. But that's with all front office roles, but the incentives are also quite good, right? Okay, and it's very easy to move from front office, from being a front office quant to middle office or back office, but the other way around is not always easy, especially if I've already worked for 5, 6, 7 years in risk management area. It's quite difficult to move to work with front office as a quant later on, although things are becoming better. But I see now I've seen people moving from middle office to front office to work as quant, but the number is still quite small. Okay, so something I want to share with you. If you have questions on this or anything related to finance, career in finance, let me know in the comment section. Thanks as always. See you in another video, guys.